Greetings my fellow knights and welcome back to Recon by Fire. For today's battle, the Grey Knights are running Brotherhood Strike Detachment. We're bringing 3 Grandmaster NDKs, all with Sublimators and Psycannons, 3 standard NDKs with Psycannons and Incinerators, 2x5 squads of Strikes, Castle and Crowe leading a 5-man squad of Purifiers, a Navigator to cover the home objective, and a Venerable Dreadnaught with the Tome of Forbidden Ways, allowing us to pick up 4 units at the end of our opponent's turn. Steve is testing out his Salamanders in the Stormlance detachment. He's running Adrax Agatone, leading a 6-man squad of Blade Guard veterans, a Biologis with the Feinting Withdrawal enhancement, leading a 6-man squad of Aggressors, a 5-man Vanguard veteran squad with jump packs, a lieutenant with Combi Weapon, a lieutenant with the Portents of Wisdom enhancement, leading a 10-man squad of Assuault Intercessors, 5 Hellblasters inside of an Impulsor, 5 Infiltrators, an ATV attached to a 4-man squad of Outriders, a Gladiator Lancer, and a Land Raider Redeemer. For today's battle, we're playing Mission Pack Papa, which is Scorched Earth. Deployment is Crucible of Battle, and we're playing on terrain layout number 4. Start of the battle, and we do have some pre-game actions with the Strike Squad scouting into and behind cover, still on the home objective, and the second squad will scout forward towards the natural expansion. Salamanders are going first, and they will draw Recover Assets and Cleanse as their secondaries for the turn. The Combi Lieutenant will select the center objective to reroll 1s to wound, and Oath of Moment will be the semi-exposed NDK. Start of the movement phase, the Combi Lieutenant will push on to the natural expansion. Assault Intercessors and the Lieutenant will move into that corner, staying off the template staging for next turn. Not having a good charge target just yet, Adrax and the Blade Guard veterans will simply stage up against the wall in the building near no man's land. Riders and the ATV will move forward just a scotch. That is going to end the first turn for the Salamanders. They will earn 2 points for cleansing with the Combi Lieutenant and 3 points for recover assets. At the end of the turn, Grey Knights are going to pick up all 3 Grandmaster NDKs and the Venerable Dreadnaught. Bottom of round 1 for the Grey Knights, they will draw no prisoners and engage on all fronts as their secondaries for the turn. Strike Squad will sticky the home objective. At the start of the movement phase, the same squad will push forward up against the wall into the center building. Nearby NDK will move in to get line of sight on the Combi Lieutenant, staying as far away from the Intercessors as possible. Grandmaster NDK will arrive with line of sight on both Adrax and the Impulsor. Second Grandmaster will arrive directly behind it. Venerable Dreadnaught will line up behind the 2 Grandmasters to get in on the action, and the third NDK will remain in deep strike. The second Strike Squad will advance to get onto the natural expansion. Crowe and the Purifiers will position themselves in that corner off the template, ready to pop out next turn. The 2 remaining NDKs will stage themselves behind the center building. Start of the shooting phase, the Nemesis Dreadnought will fire into the Combi Lieutenant. Salamanders will Armor of Contempt in response, but it still goes down. Venerable Dreadnaught sends everything into the Blade Guard veterans, failing to score a wound, but now they are +1 to hit. First Grandmaster fires into Adrax and company and picks up 2 of the Blade Guard vets. Second NDK fires into the same squad, picks up 3 of them, but fails to take out the Blade Guard veterans. This will deny no prisoners, as well as still giving Adrax all his bonuses. 12-inch charge for the Grandmaster NDK into the Impulsor, and it rolls an 11. Ugh. That is going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. They will score 2 points for no prisoners and discard engage on all fronts for a command point. Top of round 2 for the Salamanders, they will draw Area Denial and defend Stronghold as their secondaries for the turn. They control 1 objective and will score 5 points on primary. Oath of Moment is the Grandmaster Nemesis Dreadnought. Start of the movement phase, and the Land Raider will rush towards the center objective. Assault Intercessors roll a 4 on the advance and make it all the way to the wall of the building. Gladiator Lancer will position itself in between the two buildings to get line of sight down the firing lane. Riders and the ATV will spread out to screen out the NDKs from coming in the backfield. Adrax and the Lone Blade Guard veteran will bravely fall back off the template to hide and score secondaries another day. Impulsor carrying the Hellblasters will move wholly within the nearby building. Start of the shooting phase, Salamanders will burn a command point for blitzing Fusillade on the Impulsor. In response, Grey Knights will spend the Grandmaster's discount to gain stealth for free. The Impulsor fires everything into the NDK and it survives at a single wound. Gladiator Lancer will fire its Destroyer Cannon into it, command reroll to try to make both saves, but down goes the Grandmaster. Assault Intercessors attempt to charge the NDK, they fail with a 5, command reroll, and they're in with an 8. Assault Intercessors hack and slash into the lone NDK and leave it at 6 wounds remaining. Nemesis Dreadnaught will swing back with its Great Hammer, picking up a single Intercessor. That is going to end the turn for the Salamanders. They will score 5 points for area denial, and Grey Knights allow them to score defend stronghold for 3 points. Grey Knights are going to pick up Crowe and the Purifiers, both NDKs near the center building, and the Venerable Dreadnaught. Bottom of round 2 for the Grey Knights, they will draw Marked for Death and Cleanse as their secondaries for the turn. They control 2 objectives and will score 10 points on primary. Marked for Death targets are Adrax's squad, the Infiltrators, and the Bike Squad. Gamma target will be the Assault Intercessors. The Strike Squad will sticky the objective. Seeing the reactive move coming, the NDK will fall back but position itself wholly within the building to be able to shoot in any direction. Grandmaster NDK will move its full 8 inches towards the Impulsor. The Strike Squad will simply reposition within cover. Crowe and the Purifiers will land with line of sight on the Assault Intercessors. 1 Grandmaster and 2 regular NDKs and the Venerable Dreadnaught will all set up 9 inches away from the Land Raider on the center of the field. At the end of the movement phase, the Salamanders will rapid ingress their Terminators on the natural expansion for free thanks to the homing beacon. Start of the shooting phase, the Southern Strike Squad will fire their bolters into the Assault Intercessors and pick up 1 of them. Crowe and the Purifiers fire everything into the Assault Intercessors, leaving only 2 and the Lieutenant alive. Land Raider Redeemer will pop smoke using up the Salamander's final command point, and then 2 NDKs, 2 Grandmaster NDKs, and the Venerable Dreadnaught will all fire into it to finally pick it up. The Aggressors will emergency disembark as far away from the NDKs as possible to avoid a charge and only suffer 1 wound on the way out. The last remaining Dreadnaught will fire into the Aggressors and manages to pick up 2 of them. Start of the charge phase, and the Strike Squad will make their charge into the remaining Assault Intercessors and decide to split them across the NDK's front. Grey Knights then charge with the NDK. It fails the first charge with a Snake Eyes thanks to the Strike Squad being in the way. Command reroll and it rolls a 3. Womp womp. Crowe and the Purifiers attempt to charge and they also fail. Grandmaster NDK attempts to charge the Impulsor and fails with a 5. Strikes only manage to take down a single Intercessor, leaving the Gamma target alive. The crackback is pretty vicious with the Lieutenant and it picks up 2 of the Grey Knights. That is going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. They will discard Marked for Death for a command point and score 2 points on Cleanse. Top of round 3 for the Salamanders, they will draw Display of Might and establish Locust as their secondaries for the turn. They control 2 objectives and will score 10 points on primary. Oath of Moment is the Grandmaster NDK. Start of the movement phase, the Lieutenant and Assault Intercessor will fall back from the Strike Squad. Grey Knights will fire Overwatch with Crowe and the Purifiers and pick up the remaining 2 Space Marines. Terminators will shuffle around, remaining on the objective but maintaining line of sight on the wounded NDK. Aggressors with the Biologis will move in on the Venerable Dreadnaught and the Grandmaster NDK. ATV and the Outriders will spread out to deny the 6-inch deep strike. Adrax and company are going to peek around the corner to gain line of sight on the Grandmaster. Vanguard veterans will arrive behind enemy lines to score established locus. Impulsor and the Hellblasters fire into the Grandmaster, leaving it at just 8 wounds remaining. Salamanders are going to pay the 1 CP for blitzing Fusillade, firing the Aggressors into the Venerable Dreadnaught, and it survives at just 4 wounds. Terminators fire into the wounded NDK and score 1 damage. Lancer will fire into the Venerable Dreadnaught, command reroll to try to keep it alive, but down it goes. It's charge o'clock, and the Aggressors will make their charge into the Grandmaster NDK. Start of the fight phase, the Aggressors will swing into the Grandmaster, but it survives at a single wound. Crackback with the Great Hammer proves to be unfruitful, and only a wounded Aggressor goes down. At the end of the fight phase, Grey Knights will spend the Grandmaster's discount and 1 command point on Expeditious Exit to place it back into strategic reserves. That is going to end the turn for the Salamanders. They will score 4 points for established locus and discard Display of Might for a command point. Grey Knights are going to pick up Purifiers and Crowe, the Grandmaster NDK, and a regular Dreadnought. Bottom of round 3, and the Grey Knights will draw behind enemy lines and bring it down as their secondaries for the turn. They control 2 objectives and will score 10 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, the Nemesis Dreadnought will move in on the Aggressors. The second Nemesis Dreadnought will advance towards the Gladiator Lancer. The Strike Squad will move on to the Salamander objective, hoping to steal it. The Navigator rolls a 6 on the advance and will stage towards the center of the field. Grandmaster Nemesis Dreadnought will arrive from Deep Strike with line of sight on both the Aggressors and the Impulsor. The Grandmaster, that is the Oath of Moment, will arrive from Deep Strike with line of sight on the Vanguard veterans. Not wanting to leave anything to chance, Crowe and the Purifiers will arrive to do the same thing. The final Nemesis Dreadnought will arrive on the center of the field to have line of sight on both the Aggressors and the Gladiator Lancer. The Strike Squad in the building will fire into the Aggressors but fail to score a single wound. Grandmaster sends the Psycannon into the Impulsor, leaving it at just 2 wounds, and the Sublimator picks up an Aggressor. The wounded Grandmaster, Crowe, and the Purifiers all fire into the Vanguard veterans, picking up the entire squad. Nemesis Dreadnought will fire into the Lancer. Salamanders spend a command point to Armor of Contempt, and it only knocks off 3 wounds. Dreadnought on the center objective will fire into the Aggressors, picking up the entire squad, including the Biologis. The final Dreadnought will fire into the Impulsor, finally taking it down. 1 loss on the emergency disembark, it does not get up to shoot again. Start of the charge phase, and the Nemesis Dreadnought will make the charge into the Gladiator Lancer. Grey Knights will spend a command point to tank shock for 2 mortal wounds. The Great Hammer will swing in, absolutely popping off, and down goes the Lancer. It does not explode. That is going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. They will score 4 points for bring it down and discard behind enemy lines for a command point. Top of round 4 for the Salamanders, they will draw a tempting target, which they'll cycle away with new orders, drawing them behind enemy lines and sabotage as their secondaries for the turn. They control 1 objective and will score 5 points on primary. Oath of Moment is the NDK on the center objective. At the start of the movement phase, the Terminators will move through the wall to get line of sight on both the Strikes and the NDK. Riders and the ATV get 1 heck of an advance and make it on to the center objective. Adrax and the Hellblasters move towards the NDK. It will fire Overwatch, picking up the final Blade Guard veteran and denying Adrax his leader bonus. Start of the shooting phase, and the Terminators fire everything into the strikes, picking up one of them and wounding another. Hellblasters fire into the NDK, but no joy, they all succeed their hazard check. Salamanders burn a command point to give the bikes Assault, and they fire into the NDK, knocking off 2 wounds. Charge a clock, and the bikes will make the charge into the NDK, only rolling a 6 means not all of them will make it into combat. Terminators will get halfway around the NDK, but still be close enough onto the point to consolidate afterwards. Adrax will also make his charge into the Nemesis Dreadnaught. Start of the fight phase, and the bikes swing into the NDK, but unfortunately not hard enough to take it down, and it survives at 7 wounds. Grey Knights will burn their 2 CP to interrupt with the NDK, and it luckily takes down Adrax. Terminators have absolutely no problem picking up their target and will consolidate back onto the objective. NDK on the center objective swings back into the bikes, and it picks up the ATV. That is going to end the turn for the Salamanders. They will discard Sabotage and Behind Enemy Lines for a command point. Grey Knights will pick up the 2 Grandmaster NDKs and Crowe's Purifier Squad. Bottom of round 4 for the Grey Knights, they will draw Extend Battle Lines and Sabotage as their secondaries for the turn. They control 2 objectives and will score 10 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, the Strike Squad will position themselves to have line of sight on the Hellblasters. Nemesis Dreadnaught will move towards the center to reinforce its brother. Speaking of which, the NDK in combat will fall back but remain on the point. Navigator will move into the building and begin to sabotage. Crowe and the Purifiers drop in from deep strike with line of sight on the Infiltrators on their home objective. Grandmaster that is barely alive will arrive in the back corner with line of sight on the Terminators. The final Grandmaster NDK will arrive inside the building with line of sight on the Terminators that are outside the building. Start of the shooting phase, Crowe and the Purifiers will fire into the Infiltrators, and they leave 1 man alive. Strikes into the Hellblasters, and they only score a single wound. Grandmaster in the corner fires into the Terminators, picking up 1 on the inside of the building and 1 on the outside. Second Grandmaster into the same Terminators, but they completely whiff on their saves, and down goes the entire squad. Salamanders spend a command point for Ride Hard, Ride Fast on the bikes, hoping to keep them alive, but the 2 NDKs go absolutely ham and pick up the entire squad. The Strike Squad attempt to charge the Hellblasters. They fail with a 3 command reroll, and they fail with a 4. That is going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. They will score 4 points for Extend Battle Lines, and the Salamanders let them score Sabotage for 3 points. Top of round 5 for the Salamanders, they will draw No Prisoners and engage on all fronts as their secondaries for the turn. They spend a command point on Insane Bravery, targeting the Infiltrator, and will score 5 points on primary. Oath of Moment is the Strike Squad nearest the Hellblasters. Start of the movement phase, Hellblasters will move to point blank range into the strikes. Hellblasters fire everything into the Strike Squad, picking up 2 of them. They proceed to make the charge into the Strike Squad with enough movement to get onto the objective. This is his moment of glory, and the Infiltrator also makes his charge into the Strike Squad. Salamanders will swing in, but only manage to take down a single Grey Knight. The Strike Squad claps back with a vengeance and picks up 3 of the Hellblasters. That will end the turn for the Salamanders. They will discard Engage on all fronts for a command point and hold on to No Prisoners. Grey Knights will pick up both Grandmasters as well as the Purifier Squad. Bottom of round 5, and the Grey Knights will draw Display of Might and secure No Man's Land as their secondaries for the turn. Our players talk through the final turn, with the NDKs taking over all the center objectives to score 5 points for Secure No Man's Land, 4 points for Display of Might. They'll score 10 points for controlling 2 objectives, and the Purifiers will burn the Salamander's home objective for 10 points. That will make the final score 52 to 84 in favor of the Grey Knights. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, consider dropping us a sub and a like and sharing the channel with a friend. If you'd like to support the channel directly, consider becoming a channel member and gain its various perks. That will do it for today's battle, my friends. So until next time, as always, happy gaming.